everybody. Thanks for joining me for a little bit later breakdown of the Oscars. Last night was crazy. Let's hope they don't do that again. They overbooked Sunday night. And you know who ended up losing out? The Little Mermaid. I thought The Little Mermaid was going to dominate the evening's discussion, but unfortunately, that trailer just couldn't compete. And I think it ended up being a really big mistake to debut it during the Oscars. There was a distinct lack of interest. I'm nervous now about whether or not it can make $1 billion. I think that's a little bit not great. And then also, I think debuting it actually during the telecast instead of as a commercial was, I think, really surprising and very poorly received by Hollywood. So I think that they shouldn't have done that. I think that was a mistake. I think it crossed the line in terms of what you can, use the ceremony for. So that's not great. That's not great that they did that. Did you guys enjoy the Little Mermaid trailer? I mean, I've had a problem with the Grammys for quite some time, and that it's more of an ad for CBS than the music industry. Thanks, Alex. So I feel like, okay, I'll do a poll. I'll say the poll. What was the biggest event of the night, of Sunday night? Top one is Oscars, then The Last of Us, season finale, which was surprisingly competitive, and then also the Little Mermaid trailer. And then I guess we do a fourth option of none of it. I don't do. Okay. So, thanks, Chico. So I feel like I think that if they had released that Little Mermaid trailer this morning or tomorrow with a Good Morning America spot like you're supposed to, I think maybe things would have turned out a little bit better. I think that it was just really poorly handled. And that movie, I think, it was supposed to be a great launching platform for it, but I think it ended up being, really bad. All right, so let me talk about the Oscars, and then we're going to go through each of the major winners, and we can, I'll ask you some questions at that point. Try to keep your comments to what we're discussing, to the subject at hand, and then I can answer them. I think that would be good. Yeah, Josh said they should have released the Little Mermaid trailer during the Super Bowl, as they had originally planned. And, even that, I don't think so. I think the Little Mermaid trailer should have been released on a weekday morning. That's the way it's typically done. And then you have the whole day to yourself. That's the way trailers are supposed to be released. They have this new thing where they release them during a sports event or during like a big ceremony in the evening. And it's too much. I think you release these things between 9 and 12 on a weekday, and it trends all day long. You have the whole day to yourself. And that's, I think, much better. That's right, Ivan. The Oscar audience went up a little bit, so I think that's cool. And I have to tell you, I thought it was a very lovely ceremony. What I saw of it, I only was able to watch the first hour of the Oscars, and then I heard the Little Mermaid music come on, and Halle Bailey and Melissa McCarthy walked out, and I was like, see ya! And that was the end of my evening. I was gonna watch it afterwards. I did record it, but I was like, and then I saw who won, and I was like, forget it, because I was up so late doing the breakdown for The Little Mermaid. So I only saw the first hour. I liked the stage. I thought that I liked the screens and the marquee that they had, like the marquee to put up the winner and the category they were going for. I thought that was very nice. And I thought Jimmy Kimmel's monologue was pretty good. I didn't like that he did that Tom Cruise joke where he was in the plane, because I was like, James Corden already did a big thing with flying in the plane with Tom Cruise. You can't top that. So I thought that wasn't great. But I thought that he had a very kind monologue. I appreciated that, and they didn't get political. I thought that the opening monologue, they just made fun of Hollywood, which I thought was great. And I thought that it was in good nature. They were good natured. And he did address the slap. And, I thought it was funny when he said all the people you'd have to get past to take him down, and then they had the people in the audience. And I thought Pedro Pascal was particularly funny as the Mandalorian, with the, watching you thing that he did. I thought that was great. And then also, I thought that it was very fun. You know, it was interesting to me that they had tables last year, cabaret tables, and I think that that's the part of the problem. Like, it would be so hard to get up and approach the stage in the traditional setup. So that's another reason not to do the tables. So I thought they handled that well. I thought it was interesting that both Tom Cruise and James Cameron, that's why they're included here, I thought it was interesting that neither one of them showed up. I thought that was really interesting. Now, it's particularly weird because Tom Cruise went to the pre-Oscars events. There he is at like the Oscar dinner beforehand. Maybe he was filming, maybe that's why he couldn't be there, but it's the Oscars and Top Gun Maverick was nominated for Best Picture. So it's very odd that, he wasn't there. I thought maybe he was worried about Scientology jokes, and he should have because they were being made. And then also, Daniel says, why wouldn't Tom Cruise show up because of Nicole Kidman? That doesn't make any sense. And did James Cameron have a family emergency? I think they would have made a bigger deal about that. I think what's interesting is that both those guys, I know that they were married. I know that Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman were married, but, they're both big stars. They're not going to avoid each other in Hollywood. That doesn't make any sense, absolutely. I thought it was interesting because both of them have been said to have single-handedly saved the movie business. Tom Cruise and James Cameron with Top Gun Maverick and Avatar 2. And both of their films were, both of their films, I don't know, is it a family emergency or a family emergency? Because it does seem like the kind of thing that James Cameron would do, not show up because he wasn't nominated for Best Director. The thing is that both of their films are largely credited with saving the movie-going experience. And yet neither one of them individually was nominated. Tom Cruise wasn't nominated for acting. And I talked to a friend of mine about that, and I was like, is that really award-worthy acting? And my friend made a good point and said, well, just because it looks easy doesn't mean it's easy to do. And I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I would have nominated Tom Cruise. And then also James Cameron, made an incredible feat, a directing feat, and put that film together, and they're not even worthy of a nomination. I think to some degree it's like I'm not going to, lend my star power to your event when you guys just continue to snub me. So I thought it was interesting. I wasn't quite sure whether or not they should have attended or not. Future movie actor points out that Austin Butler and Vanessa Hudgens dated for years, and they were both there. Was Vanessa Hudgens there? I didn't see Vanessa Hudgens. That's funny, but I only watched for an hour. So I thought that was interesting that neither one of them was in attendance. I thought there was a lot of love at the ceremony, and they kept making me cry in that first hour. I thought the Ke Huy Quan speech, I was like tearing up. I was like, that's so beautiful. So I thought that was great. I felt that Guillermo del Toro, when he talked about his parents not being there, but that he was still their son, I was like, I'm trying to eat my pizza, man. Stop making me cry. And then when they sang happy birthday to that gentleman who, I think it was for the documentary short. And I was like, oh, that's such a nice moment for everyone to sing happy birthday to him. And how nice of them to think of that when they were up there. So I was like, wow, I was like feeling the love in the room. I was feeling the love in the room. And then I had to turn it off because the Little Mermaid trailer dropped. All right, so I'm going to talk about the winners in just a moment. But does anybody have any questions about the opening of the show? A lot of people are talking about Ozempic. Be very careful with Ozempic. I think people are making a joke out of it, but it actually has pretty serious side effects and repercussions. I mean, it's a legitimate drug that's meant for people who are diabetic. And so I think it's pretty crazy that, it's become like a punchline when it's so serious. Stephen, yes, we're not talking about the awards yet, though. We're just talking about the opening section. Josh loves movies. I didn't see the Natu Natu dance number, unfortunately, but I did see, I did see when they danced Jimmy Kimmel off stage. I thought that was pretty funny. Let me see here. Somebody asked me, Jico says, favorite red carpet outfit. I thought Nicole Kidman looked really good. Although I do like her sense of style. I was like, she looks pretty great. I thought Lady Gaga looked very pretty, too. I thought that was a nice dress. So I thought that was good. So they looked, I thought they looked nice. I didn't think anyone had a really wow dress on, though. To me. And I did feel that neck collar that blocked the view behind was not great. I mean, I know that fashion is important, but I agreed with everybody that it should have been detachable because I felt very bad for the people sitting behind that woman. Let's see here. Wesley says, Jimmy Kimmel was medium. I miss no host and short 2 to 3 minute comedy sketches. Yeah, I like that. I thought that was nice. I like that too. But I thought it was okay. And Lewis Cook says, I'm happy Jimmy Kimmel gave a shout out to Till and the Woman King. I'm kind of happy he did, but I'm kind of think it's, it just underscored, how unfair it was that those films were ignored. So, I mean, and I don't really feel that makes up for it, quite frankly. Haunted Autumn says, I sent a super just before Steven about the show. Yeah, but hold on. Mandy says, do you think some of the host jokes are too mean? I didn't think any of them were mean last night. I think in the past they've been too mean. Haunted Autumn, let me see here. Thoughts on Gaga. But I didn't watch Haunted Autumn. I didn't watch any of the musical performances. I have no idea how their performances were because I was doing the Little Mermaid coverage. You liked Florence Pugh's dress, Margot? I thought it was awful. Nico says, I found it funny how Kimmel poked fun at the audience for doing nothing when the slap happened last year. That was true. Hey, Carol. Ariel Knight says, people of color keep giving their star power to the event, even though the Oscars keep snubbing the group as a whole. We'll talk about what happened to Angela Bassett. I think there's definitely some truth in your statement. And Noah Knows says, for some reason, this Oscars didn't bore me like past years. What are some of the reasons for that, and did it bore you? Well, again, I only watched an hour. I thought the good-naturedness of it helped, and it didn't bore me. There wasn't any film that I was, super rooting for, It's interesting. All right, so let's talk about the winners, okay? So I think that, let's see here. Future movie actresses missed the first 2 of my super chats for the record. I can't answer all super chats when I'm trying to do something like this. So hold them until sections where I say that I'm going to be paying attention to them so that you don't feel that you didn't get the attention that, you were hopeful for. Hanny says, thoughts on Hugh Grant's red carpet attitude. Yeah, Hugh Grant gave a really mean interview before the show started. And he was, I think, very dismissive. And I think some people were saying, oh, well, these interviews are inane and stuff like that. But I think the issue is that, someone pointed out that a lot of presenters are asked to give softball questions just so that, it's not stressful and you just have a good time. And, you can promote the stuff that you're doing and what you're wearing. And, I think that Hugh Grant obviously didn't want to do the interview, and he just shouldn't have done the interview. He should have said, I don't want to do an interview. Thank you so much. Thanks for asking. So I just thought it was really rude. You guys think it was British humor? I don't think so. I've seen British humor, and I just thought it was mean. I just thought he was mean. Because you know what the problem was? The interviewer wasn't in on the joke. And so I feel like that's what made it not cool. Let me end the poll for what was the biggest event of the evening. And the Oscars easily wins at 49%. Then The Last of Us at 28%. 11% didn't care for any of it. And then 9% for the Little Mermaid trailer. Oh, that's really rough. That's rough. Disney's having a rough time. All right, so let's go through the winners. All right, so Everything Everywhere All at Once had a huge sweep. Huge sweep. It won a lot of awards, and that's unusual because usually the ceremony is more democratic, as I always talk about. They always want films to go home with something. But because Everything Everywhere All at Once swept to such a degree, The Fabelmans, Tar, Banshees of Inisherin, and Elvis all walked away with not a single win, which I thought was pretty interesting. And in some of those cases, I feel that was deserved not to win anything. As you know, I'm not a fan of The Fabelmans or Tar, and I think that Austin Butler, I read a lot of people who were saying they were voting for Austin Butler for Best Actor, and that he really carried that movie, and I thought that was true. I think Elvis not winning anything is a little bit weird when you think about it. And Banshees getting shut out is also a little bit weird, but that's because they were just giving everything to everywhere all at once. So that won Best Picture. All right. So the Best Picture winner was Everything Everywhere All at Once. Let me ask you a poll about Everything Everywhere All at Once. Hold on. Did Everything Everywhere All at Once deserve to sweep? And we'll do yes. Then we'll do should have spread out the love. and then did not care for that film. Now that's interesting. So I'm put that poll up there for you to interact with. But I will say that I actually, as you might recall, am not a huge fan of that movie from an entertainment perspective. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is not the best movie. But when you look at the winners of the best, oftentimes when I'm looking for a movie to watch, I will go and watch a Best Picture winner because I'm like, I should have seen these things. So to some degree, you don't want to have a situation where, people are watching Best Picture winners and are like, these aren't good. But a lot of people do care for the film. And a lot of times the Oscars are about representing films that have a particular story and message. And in that regard, I thought that Everything Everywhere All at Once was so important that I am a fan of it winning Best Picture. And I would have voted for it to win as well. And the reasoning is that I think Everything Everywhere All at Once touches on a couple of subjects that are not addressed enough in society. I think, of course, there's the Asian representation, which is really fantastic. I think there's also the talk about immigrants, immigration and going to a different country. I think that's important. And, sacrifices that are made for parents for their children. I also think there was something very interesting in the movie about women and how women often will take a back seat and sacrifice their own lives for their loved ones, for their husbands and their children, and they feel like they never really got to be themselves. And I thought that was very interesting. And so I loved seeing that explored in that movie. So even though I didn't personally care for the movie and felt that it was particularly entertaining, I feel it's an important message to get out there, and that's why I'm happy that the film, I will do a poll for supporting actress DL when we get to that. So I do feel that the movie deserved to win for that reason. And Jico points out some LGBT representation, and I think that definitely was a part of the story too. So I thought it was good. I think that the film was deserving of the win, and I think to some degree of the sweep. It was pointed out that everybody who won for Best Actor had never won before, which I thought was very interesting. So end the poll. Let's see here. Did Everything Everywhere All at Once deserve to sweep? 65% yes. 24%, this is interesting. 24%, it should have been spread out a little bit more, and 9% did not care for the film. Not the overwhelming number that you would think to support that, but that's interesting. That's right, WEC. Everything Everywhere All at Once is about moms, and I think that's really great. I think moms are an important thing to highlight. I don't think moms get enough respect for what they have to do and what it's like, what it's emotionally like. So I thought that was great. So anyway, let's talk about the acting awards. So we'll start out with Best Actress, Michelle Yeoh. I was just so happy that Cate Blanchett didn't win. I can't tell you. Thank goodness that Michelle Yeoh won. Now, a lot of people talked about the fact that she was the first actress who identifies as Asian to win, and I believe that's because Merle Oberon, I believe is the actress, had Asian descent, but because of the time, did not identify as Asian because, it was unfortunately not a place that you could do that. I thought I was just so happy for Michelle Yeoh. I thought she looked phenomenal. I thought she did a great job in the movie. I thought that it was wonderful to see someone who was known for her martial arts ability get the chance finally to be respected as an actor. And I just thought that everything about her winning was important. And so I was so thrilled that she won. Thank goodness. I just loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So I don't think really anybody had a big problem with Michelle Yeoh winning. Right? I don't think that anybody really was upset about that. Then Best Actor, Brendan Fraser. The Encino Man stuff was pretty funny. They pointed out that two people from Encino Man were now Oscar winners, Ke Huy Quan and Brendan Fraser. And I was like, that's pretty funny. So I kind of like that. And I do like Brendan Fraser. I've not seen The Whale. I'm not going to watch The Whale. I'm just not interested in that movie. But I am a Brendan Fraser fan. I felt a little bad for Colin Farrell, but I think by the time Oscar night came around, he really wasn't in the competition anymore, to be honest with you. But I think that Austin Butler was very close. But Austin Butler's just at the beginning of his career, and he will certainly have more opportunities, I think. So I think that this was great. I'll be curious to see what Brendan Fraser can make of this. What is this next role that he's going to get? And I'm happy for him. He's had a rough time. Brendan Fraser's had a really difficult time in life. He's had a tough time. So it's great. And, I saw some people talking about that everybody up here has had trouble and struggled in their career and had a hard time being taken seriously. So for them to win Oscars It was really like the underdogs club. So I think that's another reason. One of you asked why maybe you didn't find the Oscars frustrating this year, and it might be because, it was like, how could you not feel good about these wins, right? It was the comeback year, as Josh Loves Movies says. You're right. Who just said that? Chloe pointed out that Brendan Fraser is in Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon with Leonardo frickin' DiCaprio. And that's great because I have enjoyed Brendan Fraser's more serious work. He was also in Trust, a miniseries on VFX. He's a great serious actor. He's very good at being menacing. And I'm excited to maybe see him take on even more serious work. So very happy about that. Very, very happy about Brendan Fraser. He's a nice guy. All right, Best Supporting Actress, Jamie Lee Curtis. Let's do the poll. I feel a little bad for Jamie Lee Curtis because I think her Oscar's forever a little bit tainted because of this. So, who should have won Best Supporting Actress? Hold on. Jamie Lee Curtis. And I see you guys have some super chats. I'll get to those in just a second. Stephanie Hsu. There we go. Because those are the three people. I have to say, when they read off the names, I actually said to myself, give it to, I pulled a King Solomon. I was like, give it to Stephanie Hsu, and that way no one will be upset about Angela Bassett or Jamie Lee Curtis, and I think that'll just solve your whole problem. So if only that had happened. That was my honest gut reaction when I was watching. So Raphael says, Angela Bassett's stub was awful. She made thousands of people cry with just one line in the trailer. They just didn't want to give Marvel a win. And Mexican Nacho says, do you think Ant-Man and the Wasp, the state of Marvel, affected Angela Bassett's chances of winning? And then Max Beck says, just like Justice League hurt Wonder Woman in 2017. And then Max Beck said, to the point of Curtis versus Bassett, I like this, Max. You're doing it like a legal brief. It's both their only chance for an Oscar, so it's ultimately a celebration of careers. Love Curtis, but Bassett has set a foundation for talent of color, mentoring Chadwick Boseman and deserved to win. That's true. I think that, some people said that Angela Bassett, who was clearly so upset when her name wasn't called, she just seemed so defeated and broken as I tweeted. I felt so sad for her. And some people said she was a sore loser. And I felt that was ridiculous. Because it's true. I think it's very unlikely Angela Bassett will get nominated again. Maybe this will help her. Maybe she'll get a great new role and they'll fast track her to an Oscar win because everyone will feel very bad about how this went down. Because I do feel that the Marvel role, it being a Marvel role, was the issue. And I do feel that Quantumania being so bad affected it. And people are like, we just can't reward this type of filmmaking. Which is a shame because Angela Bassett was incredible in that movie. Incredible. And so powerful. And just really, really strong. I'll talk about Jamie Lee Curtis in a moment. But I do feel that Angela Bassett felt, I ain't never winning an Oscar. I think that's honestly what she felt. And not only did she feel she was never going to win, but that the system was stacked against her. I don't think Angela Bassett would have been as sad if Viola Davis and Danielle Deadwyler hadn't been shut out by Andrea Riseborough. And it just seems like the cards are stacked against you and that your peers don't respect you. And like it's really a club that you're not a part of. Because Jamie Lee Curtis is kind of in the same group as Andrea Riseborough, right? Like these older white women who are all friends. And they're giving it to each other. It's like those horrible country club movie scenes, when you're all like, the country club is evil. That's what this was like. And Jamie Lee Curtis, by the way, is such a nice person who gave a really great speech backstage about inclusivity. And so Jamie Lee Curtis is like a really nice person. I kind of wish she had said something about Angela Bassett, but I think, I don't know. I think Jamie Lee Curtis really just grabbed her moment. She was like, I'm taking my moment. I'm taking it. Because, she talked about the fact that she has two very famous parents, Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh from Psycho. She actually sometimes looks a lot like both of them, depending on the perspective that you look at her in, which I think is funny, because I actually look a lot like both of my parents, depending on which one I'm standing next to. So I thought that's just funny. And she said that she felt really nice because neither of her parents had ever actually won an Oscar. And so she had been able to win one for the family. And I think also that speaks to, speaking of being a Nepo baby, that I think Jamie Lee Curtis always kind of felt like she was in the shadow of her parents. So for her to kind of like be validated in her own right, I'm sure was very rewarding. And she's had a rough time. She was, as many people pointed out, the spokesperson for that yogurt that is helps go to the bathroom. So that was really hilarious. So, and she really also, the Oscars, if you look at the people who win Oscars, the Oscars love it when you are willing to not be vain in a role. And she was certainly not vain in Everything Everywhere All at Once. She really went for it. And she did do a nice job with her monologues as well. A lot of times, awards voters don't actually watch the films. They will oftentimes watch clips. So they'll send out a monologue or like a scene. And so I think when you just pair up the scenes, one's in a comic book movie and one's in like a very serious movie. And so I think that's kind of how it went down. Katie, I thought that was great that Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors came out and said to Angela Bassett, "Hey, Auntie, we love you," when they came out to present. I thought that was really beautiful. Because I think everyone in the room felt that the deck was stacked against actors of color, particularly black talent. And I think that was really, I'm sure it must have been tough for everyone to sit through. And, I was so happy at the beginning of the ceremony to see Michael B. Jordan with such a great smile on his face, because he's been so unhappy ever since his Fantastic Four situation. As I said, that really affected him. And I feel like he's been carrying that with him. And you can see that was kind of lifted after the great opening weekend for Creed. He was like, hey, maybe I am a part of this industry. And so I thought that was really nice. And then they just made him probably sad all over again. It's like, just what I started to believe, man. All right, so let me see some of these super comments. Hold on. Concepcion says, Grace, do you think there's still a stigma when it comes to comic book movies? Yes, I do. I do, unfortunately. Especially, I think especially because Marvel has become regarded as a machine. And so people aren't taking it as seriously. Eric says, each of them deserve the trophy. That's why they're nominated. No, I think at a certain point there's momentum behind a performance, and, it's expected to continue. The industry is very much about whose turn is it? Whose turn is it? And so for all of a sudden at the last minute for them to be like, no, wait a minute, it's not your turn, it's her turn, makes it feel like something was taken away. Travis T says, do you think Angela Bassett being on a Fox television show about the police right now also hurt her peers thinking she's too TV? That's interesting too, Travis. I wonder if that, but come on, Jamie Lee Curtis was the spokesperson for poop yogurt. I think that probably levels the playing field, quite frankly. Gigi says the problem is that Jamie Lee Curtis's performance was the weakest among the five of them. If they wanted to give it to someone else, it should have gone to Sue. That's a good point. I've seen a number of people point out that, when it comes to that actual film, Stephanie Sue's character is so much more important to the film. So the fact that she didn't get it either, it was just like, I think the industry decided at the last minute that they really wanted to reward Jamie Lee Curtis, who's been acting for quite some time, comes from she's Hollywood royalty, and so they decided to give it to her. It is a little bit, to me, it has a little bit of the Andrea Riseborough stink on it, quite frankly. Lewis Cook says, sadly, the Academy has a horrible track record recognizing black actresses. That's true, Lewis. And it was beautiful. I forgot to mention it with Michelle Yeoh. I thought it was beautiful that, Halle Bailey was able to give her the Oscar, and them being the only two actresses of color for decades that have won the Best Actress Oscar. So that was a nice moment. Let me see here. Hold on. Make sure I didn't miss anything here before we go into the next award, and I'll close the poll. So vote in that poll. I'm going to close it in a second. Let's see here. Steven says, Angela has been deserving a working actor for years. She was Halle Berry's peer who got overlooked and was even mentioned in Halle's speech. Yeah, Angela Bassett has never won, and I think she's feeling she's never gonna, which is why she was particularly sad. Itzante says, Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't the best supporting actress in her own movie. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Agreed. Boab says, I loved Angela Bassett in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but prefers Jamie Lee Curtis. All right, interesting. The Quasar says, I am pretending that this Oscar is for Beverly Hills Chihuahua and Christmas with the Craigs. That's funny. Gilberto says, I love Jamie Lee Curtis. She is such an advocate for the LGBT community and keeps it real. She needs an Oscar for her career. It just sucks that Angela didn't win. Jamie Lee Curtis, I wouldn't say she's a great actress. I would say Jamie Lee Curtis is a great personality, quite frankly. John Carlos says, I hope Angela Bassett gets a perfect role for her Oscar wins, especially in a leading role. That would be nice. That's right, guys. I'm just catching up to the poop yogurt. That's right. Max says, my new drag name, poop yogurt. That's funny. It Will Be Okay says, we have to, so saying talent of color has to play slaves, someone who hurts their own community, a historical figure. She plays a queen, and the Academy only likes the British. You mean like the British royalty? That's an interesting point as well. Hey, Marco. Our Lee says this is Angela Bassett's second loss. She didn't win for What's Love Got to Do with It. It's probably her last chance. Well, I hope not. I hope she has one more chance in there. I hope she does. I really hope she doesn't give up. World of Devon says Kugler and Angela gave everyone chills with their performance. Bring her back for flashbacks. No, I think that would cheapen what she did. I wouldn't do that. Thank you, Dwight. And the mysterious one says, I love that Jamie shouted out that she is a genre actor. I hate that we all assume Angela won't be nominated again, and we're probably right. Yeah, but is that twisting the knife, the mysterious one? You know, Jamie Lee Curtis is like, I'm a genre actor. And Angela Bassett's like, well, what the heck? But she didn't win for a genre role. So that's, interesting. That's right, Bode. Carrie Condon didn't win. Banshees was totally shut out. Thank you, Azur. All right, so let's get to the next one. Then Best Supporting Actor was Ke Huy Quan. I bet he was a little nervous. I bet he was a little bit nervous that he might not win. But he won, thank goodness. And he gave an incredible speech about being in a refugee camp when he first came to America and said he was living the American dream. I hope that he, too, is able to build on this and have some really great roles. Oh, I didn't close the poll. Thank you, Sohail. Hold on, let me close the poll. It's Angela Bassett in a landslide, 53%. Jamie Lee Curtis for 27%. And interestingly, Stephanie Hsu at 18%. I didn't particularly care for Stephanie Hsu's performance, even though I know it was important to a lot of people. So I think that's interesting. I like the actress, but I didn't care for that performance. I thought Angela Bassett deserved it. And I did think Jamie Lee Curtis was good in the role. It really sucks that this is what happened to her. All right, so anyway, thanks, Roni. I like that dancing pair. All right, so yes, Ke Huy Quan is in Loki. That's right, Trisha. I've seen some stuff of him in the show. He looks great. So that's exciting, and I hope he gets even other things. So that would be really fantastic. But I like Ke Huy Quan a lot. I think he's fabulous. And I thought he gave a really wonderful speech. And apparently, later on in the evening, he got to hug Harrison Ford again when they won Best Picture. So I thought that was great. I was like, well, they should make a movie together. Why don't they do that? That's right. Ke Huy Quan is in American Born Chinese. I saw that trailer the other day, and I thought it looked medium. I thought it looked a little derivative, so I hope the show itself is good. But I'm very excited for him. He's got a lot of work coming up, and I hope that he's able to really capitalize on it. But he's having a great moment no matter what. Then Best Director, The Daniels. I thought it was great that they won. It's great to see a directing duo win. I think that's very interesting. You don't see that very often, I think, if at all. And you're seeing more and more directing duos. It's happening more and more often, which like the Scream 5 and 6 were directed by a directing duo. So I think that's very interesting. And also, Everything Everywhere All at Once was so all over the place, it really needed a strong directorial hand to make sure that it stayed focused and that it was a controlled chaos. And so they did a great job with that. I thought that was really nice. So, and good for them. So very good for them. I didn't see their speech because it was after the Little Mermaid trailer dropped. But, the Coen brothers. That's right. The Coen brothers. Whatever happened to them? Oh, thanks, Ronnie. I miss the Coen brothers. Right now, I think just Ethan Coen's writing scripts. I feel bad. They were really talented. I know they had some clunkers, but don't give up, man. So then our Best Original Screenplay, the Daniels won as well. They've got Oscar bookends, right? I thought that was great. We're going to watch The Goonies on Sunday. If Caitlin just talked about Ke Huy was in not only Indiana Jones, but The Goonies. We're watching The Goonies on Sunday as part of BTT Movie Club. If you're on that level of membership, you'll be able to participate. I've never seen The Goonies, so we'll watch it for Ke Huy Quan. So the Daniels won for Best Original Screenplay, which I thought was great. Then Best Adapted Screenplay was Sarah Polley, which was kind of almost like a nod for her not getting nominated for director. I didn't watch that movie. I heard some people say it was pretty good, but I'm glad she won. Sarah Polley, speaking of child actors, she was in Anne of Green Gables or something. Avonlea. Avonlea. Some Anne of Green Gables spinoff. She's really famous for that. So she was a child actor and then has gone on behind the camera. So that's great. So she won. So it was nice to see women getting some recognition. Anne of Avonlea, thank you, Haunted Autumn. Thank you so much. That was a good show. That was a good show. Ogden says, Kay needs to pick up the Indiana Jones mantle if Disney is interested in That's funny. Or at least Indiana Jones 6. I don't know if Harrison Ford's going to go away. So we'll see. We'll see. Then, all the big blockbusters, the Batman didn't win anything. But Avatar 2 won Best Visual Effects. Duh. Top Gun Maverick got Best Sound. They're like, so that was all that was left, huh? And they're like, do you want it or not? And they're like, we'll take it. So that's funny. And then costume design went again to Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which won the award as well as a number of other awards, but this was the only one it got this year for the first film. So those are the ones that the blockbusters walked away with. VFX, sound, and costume design. So, you know, a little rough there. Best original song went to Natu Natu from RRR, and that was fabulous. That was great to see. I loved, again, when they're very good dancers when they were trying to dance Jimmy Kimmel off the stage. They did a great job. I thought they were wonderful. I was like, those dancers are amazing. And then they said they were from RRR, and I was like, wow, they're good. So I'm glad that was recognized. I'm glad that film was recognized. It's too bad that India didn't submit it as its best international feature, or maybe it could have won that. All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't even like All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't know why it got some stuff. Jay King says, I don't know if you saw Michelle's speech, but she dedicated it to all the moms and says, ladies, please don't let anyone tell you you're past your prime. Did she really? That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Oh, I love Michelle Yeoh. That's wonderful. That's just so great. All right, so anyway, All Quiet on the Western Front won a couple of awards, including Best Score. I mean, I've seen a lot of War is Hell films, and I think that a lot of them were much better than All Quiet on the Western Front. And then animated feature was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which was just a super sad, depressing movie. But it was well made. Should have been Puss in Boots, man. Should have been Puss in Boots. Let's see here. Hold on. So let's do let me see if there are any comments. I'll answer your question in a second. Innovative David says, Grace was so elated in an Odyssey. Grace, you were so elated in an Odyssey. Halle Berry, the only other woman of color, present to Michelle Yeoh. Yes, that was beautiful. I love that. Oh, and thank you. I'm glad. I put up 4 videos last night. It was nuts. I was sitting here for, sometimes I have like a thing for my feet, to elevate my legs, but I have to remember to keep getting up and walk around. Because I was sitting in this chair for hours. Just hours and hours and hours yesterday. Let's see here. DL says, hey, Grace, what's your beef with Cate Blanchett? I don't have a beef with Cate Blanchett. I just didn't like Tar. And she's already got 2 Oscars. She's good. All right, that's my beef with Cate Blanchett. Share the love, man. All right, let's do the Q&A section. I saw a good question from Al Watch. So, yeah, you can ask me anything you'd like about the Oscars. This is an Oscar Q&A. So, Al Watch says... Where'd that go? Well, I think Al Watch, why are they okay giving DC awards but not Marvel? Well, I think that you'll notice that they often award films that aren't connected to a whole universe. I think they prefer the artistry of DC films, and I think DC films are a little more artistic. I mean, I think there's no question that The Dark Knight and the Joker movie, those films are far more sophisticated and more auteur. They have more of an auteur sensibility than the Marvel movies, than any Marvel movie has ever had. My dude says, who would you cast in White Lotus Season 3? What? That has nothing to do with the Oscars. Let's see here. Spicy Juan. Oh, that's a great name. I love it. That's such a great moniker. Hey, Spicy Juan. Spicy Juan. Not just a regular Juan. Not a mild Juan, but a spicy Juan. Says, hey, Grace, Flounder and Sebastian seem off. I think giving Ariel merpeople friends like they did for Jasmine with Dahlia would be a good idea. That is a good idea. I thought it was weird, as I said in my breakdown, that she was only talking to a fish. David Kyle says, personally would prefer a Kate and Angela win, but happy for Michelle Yeoh. David, what? You're wrong. Tess, I haven't watched any of the speeches. I was up so late last night, and then I was tired, and then I was like, I had to film my Keanu Reeves review because John Wick, the embargo lifts at 11, so I got to edit that. Let's see here. Halle did look like a Princess Platinum Diva. She had a very pretty dress on. Ulk, I'm not going to watch the rest of the Oscars. It's over. It's over. I hope they don't do anything like that with debuting a trailer during the Oscars again. It really messed me up. David says, Grace, do you think Scarlett Johansson will ever win? She did so much for women in action in the history. Well, she's got to overcome saying that comment about she should be able to play a tree and stuff like that and trying to take a trans role. I think she's got some work to do, but I think I see Scarlett Johansson winning an Oscar like in 20 years. That's what I think. I see that happening. Hold on. Let me see. Let me make sure I get all these comments here. Roni, thank you, says, so Marvel and DC need to be knocking down the Daniels door. I don't know about that, actually, Ronnie. I don't think the Daniels are a good fit with comic book movies. I think that they're too cerebral. I actually don't think they would be a good choice. Maybe I could see them doing something for James Gunn at DC. I think there actually is an overlap in sensibility, but I wouldn't have them at Marvel. Thank you, Daniel Harati. That's very nice of you. That guy you like says, I fell asleep on Tar twice. See, it's not just me. A number of you have DM'd me saying, woo, Grace, you were right about Tar. So I'm telling you, it's just not for everybody, and that's okay. Oh, thank you, iReady. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Itzante says, wait, was Sebastian a crab in the original Little Mermaid, or was he a lobster? Lobster would look far better in this live-action version. He was a crab. Yeah, he was a crab. Remember, he was stuffed crab when he was in the kitchen? But he does look like a lobster. I will agree with you. Let's see here. Jay King said, loved your Little Mermaid reaction, but I got to ask, what's your beef with Prince Eric? Some people took me for saying that Prince Eric was just, he couldn't change the fact that, that's how Prince Eric looks. I just think Prince Eric is bland. It's nothing with the way he looks. He just doesn't pop or have any personality. And I think that's just really I'm tired of boring cardboard cutout princes. Princes should be just as exciting as the princess so that we can be invested in the romance. General overalls, that is so generous of you. You're awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Caesar also thinks giving Ariel a human or a mer friend would have been a good idea. Malachi says, any advice on getting my first set PA gig in Los Angeles? Oh, that's interesting, Malachi. Well, I would just be really realistic about it. Don't be like, I can't wait to be a big star in the movie business by carrying your cables. They're just going to feel you're going to be difficult on set. You ought to be like, I love the movies. Are you in Louisiana or are you in Los Angeles? But I would just be like, I love the movie business. I just want to be a part of it any way that I can. And I'm excited to, just be on set and, be a part of that and start to learn. And I think then they'll love you. Let's see here. Oh, let's see. Who said that? Yeah, he is too vanilla. That's right, Concepcion. That's the perfect way to describe it. Gilberto really enjoyed Tar. That's true. Movies are an art. That's why we pay attention to the box office and stuff, because that's the best, real measurement you can get of a film's success. I've liked some clunkers. I still like Speed Racer to this day. Zoli says, have you been to the ceremony before? If not, do you wish to go? Would love to see you there as our live host. Thank you, Zoli. I did cover the Oscars one year for Dolby, and I got to be on visit it the day before. So I got to actually go into the auditorium and I saw the set. This was before COVID, and I got to see the walkway. And I did videos on this that I think are still up. And I got to see the walkway that people go to from the stage to where they go to the press room to talk to the press about having just won. And it was really cool to be there. It was really nice. It's really interesting to be in Los Angeles when the Oscars are on, because the whole city shuts down because it's an industry town. So if you're there that day, it's like everyone's just into the Oscars, and they shut down so many streets for security. You just have to hunker down, and it's a really interesting thing to experience. I will tell you though that the Dolby Theater is in just the worst part of town these days, unfortunately. So be careful walking around there. John Timothy says, who would be your ideal presenter for the 96th Oscars? Jimmy felt a bit dry to me, but super happy for Michelle Yeoh's win. Yeah, my problem with Jimmy Kimmel is he was just there to promote ABC because he hosts their late night show. I'm not sure who I would want as a presenter. I liked Seth MacFarlane. I thought he was actually really great when he hosted. I thought he was funny. I thought his socks in the dryer bit was hilarious. I don't think it worked for a lot of people in the room, but I was like, that's genius. I think I prefer no host, and I prefer having the comedy sketches as you guys brought up, and I prefer having, then you can get people to have a little bit more fun, and there's no obligation to keep bringing the host back to say something. So I preferred it with no host, to be honest with you. Dimitri says Prince Eric is his favorite Disney prince. Really? That's interesting. Who's your favorite Disney prince? Let's do a poll. Mine's Prince Philip. Let's see here. Because I just really like Sleeping Beauty. I can only pick 4. So, who's your favorite Disney prince? So, Prince Eric. And I'm not doing like Aladdin, because Aladdin's a lead. So we're talking about Prince Eric, Prince Philip, the Beast, I guess. Oh, Naveen. Oh, Naveen's a good one too. I do love Naveen. Oh, now it's getting hard. And we'll put Naveen in there. Flynn Rider's not technically a prince. Prince Naveen. I like Prince Naveen. The Beast. All right, there you go. I love Disney. All right. My pleasure, John. My pleasure. And I missed some comments. Let me go back there and get them. I touched a nerve. Everybody has a vote on this, which I love. But I just have a soft spot because Sleeping Beauty is my most favorite Disney animated classic. I could watch that on a loop. I just think it's so beautiful, Sleeping Beauty. All right, hold on. I'm going back here. All right, so Jared says, hopefully one day we'll have an LGBTQ animated Disney prince or princess movie. You kind of do with Frozen, right? Right? Let's see here. Rodney, I agree that Halle Bailey's voice does sound incredible. David Kyle says, how come a movie about Asian immigrants has the white woman over the Asian daughter who objectively gave a better performance? That's what people are saying. That's what people are saying. Let's see here. Oh, Fudge Muffin says, Prince Eric, more like Prince Every Basic Boy. That's pretty funny. Jay Got Milk also loves Speed Racer. Brendan Garcia says, Grace, with all the criticism with the VFX and the poor viewership with the Little Mermaid trailer, do you think it can still break 1 billion? No, I don't. I'm very nervous that it's not going to break 1 billion. Travis, did I get your super chat? I think I went back and got it, didn't I? Let me make sure. Rolling. Oh, it won't let me go back any further. I'm sorry, Travis. I don't know why I didn't see it. It's a little bit hard when I was not in the Q&A section. Let's see here. Okay. Stephen Turner says, let's get a Halle Berry and Michelle Yeoh movie. We all know Halle can do action. Can she do it? Was she in John Wick, Halle? Oh, Halle Berry. I thought it was Halle Bailey. Yeah, Halle Berry can do action. That would be great. Peter Odinson says, hey, Grace, are you doing a spoiler review for Scream 6? I don't think so at this point. My schedule got away from me last week. I think I'm going to have to just focus on making sure I get a Shazam spoiler review up. Frosty Salt said, I need Max and Little Mermaid. Give Eric his dog. I agree. Where is this cute dog? Kyle says, Elvis is my favorite movie of 2022. Can't believe it didn't take home at least 1 award. It was pretty shocking. Fropo, I love your emoji as your avatar. That is so perfect. It's giving major Groucho Marx vibes. I love it. Hey, Grace, been watching your channel for 4 years and love your content and your dedication so much. Thank you. I'm about to graduate college, and I'm wondering if you had any advice about working from home. Oh, wow. Congratulations. And that's great that you're going to be working from home. I think it's important. Make sure you get out. Make sure you don't just never, become like a hermit, And, make sure you have a space in your house or wherever you are that is dedicated for work, because then you'll never stop working. You'll never be able to turn it off. So I hope that helps. Mark Nagel says, Ariel needs a gay merman best friend, but then he'd tell her that Eric isn't worth it and we wouldn't have a movie. That reminds me of that gay best friends comedy sketch, and they had one where Juliet was talking to her if she had a gay best friend. It was hilarious. He was like, didn't you just meet this guy? It was so funny. That was a really funny sketch. It was from a long time ago. It was like 10 years ago, I think. But go look it up. It was so funny. It had a couple of them that were very good, but the Juliet one was the funniest. That would be a great comedy sketch, Mark. Let's see here. Gay for Satan says, Elmo should host. I'd like Elmo be the host. That'd be pretty funny. Daniel says, Tar is masterful filmmaking, but Michelle deserved. Yeah, Michelle Yeoh all the way. Let's see here. David Kyle says, now that the Oscars has ended, Me and Grace can finally end the disagreement about Best Actress. That's right, David. We can be friends again. We can be friends. Statler and Waldorf. Oh, fudge muffins. That's very... Oh, Bowen Yang. Nuno, Bowen Yang, and Eugene. Is that... Are you talking about Eugene Lee? No, Eugene. But Dan Levy. Eugene, that's what made me think of it. Dan Levy and Bowen Yang would be such great Oscar hosts. They'd be hilarious. I really like Bowen Yang. I think Bowen Yang's super talented. Let me end the poll. The Beast won. What? The Beast won. The Beast. Bug says, you have one of the best communities on YouTube. Grace, what would be your dream job in entertainment if not the BTT queen? You would love to be a talk show host. Well, I'm very happy right here. I don't want to talk about shoulda, woulda, coulda. I'm very pleased. I love you guys. But I'm so glad that you like. The community that we've built is beautiful, and that's because of you guys. Francis says either Aubrey Plaza or Jennifer Coolidge would be amazing hosts. Oh, that's not bad. I didn't even think of, some great women who could host. That would be wonderful. I don't know, but Jennifer Coolidge, though, for a whole ceremony, I don't know if that would work because she has such a specific style. Alawatch says his first gay crush was Prince Eric. That's funny. Hey, Eddie. Let me get to the poll in a minute. Let me make sure I answered everything here. Polly, thanks for joining. wanted to vote for Prince Charming from Cinderella. Oh, and Travis also liked Prince Eric. Wow, that's interesting. A lot of hearts aflutter for Prince Eric. And Cole said, how much do you think Quantumania hurt Angela Bassett? I think it hurt her a lot, to be honest with you. Holden says, hey, Grace, did you see that Marvel Studios is I did see that. Let's maybe I'll cover that on the live tomorrow. Wanda says, I was sad that Jimmy Kimmel didn't say that the Scarlet Witch was there when you had to, for who could be protecting him. That's true. That would have been great. But he did say Michelle Yeoh, right? All right, so as for the poll, let me find the poll. Where'd it go? Where's the poll? The Beast won at 43%, followed by Prince Naveen at 26%, Prince Eric at 18%, and Prince Philip at 11%. Wow, he really was down at the bottom there. But that's great. That's fantastic. Lois says, I'm so happy that Ruth Carter became the first black woman to win 2 Oscars for costume design for Black Panther. Yeah, that's great. She's very talented. Daniel, I don't know if I'm going to cover Ted Lasso Season 3. I'll tweet about it. They only gave us 4 episodes of 12. So it's really hard for me to review it having seen so little of the season. I will tell you the first episode was annoying, but it got a lot better after that. Xtina says there are 2 princes named Prince Charming, Snow White and Cinderella. That's right. They are. Equally bland. Let's see here. Irene says, I can't believe it took 95 years for an Asian actress to win an Academy Award for Best Actress. 95. Yep. But I think things are happening more quickly, so that's wonderful. And David says, I'll take the vanilla Eric we got over Harry Styles. That's true. That's true. He is not a good actor. All right, let me get a few questions that Alberto loves Prince Philip. Alberto gets my Prince Philip love. Jay Quitter says, this is a little bit of a general question, but what type of movie do you think Steven Spielberg needs to make in order to secure at least one last or multiple Oscars? I don't think he should be focused on that. I think he should be focused on just making a good movie. He already has an Oscar. I think Fabelmans was an awful movie. I think it was horrible. So I think he should stop focusing on trying to win an Oscar and go back to making good movies, quite frankly. Thank you, Wanda, for saying I should host. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Tess said, The Rock trying to do damage control and let the industry know he's still relevant. Wasn't that emoji, Tess? I love The Rock. The Rock's awesome. He's like, please stop asking me about Black Adam. I'm done with that. Maybe he should have just said that. He should have been like, come on, we've moved on. Don't keep asking me about Black Adam. It's over. I'm excited for Red One. I do love a good Christmas movie. Wesley loves the Fabelmans. Wesley's defending the Fabelmans. Caleb, I did like Spielberg's West Side Story. I did like that. Max Rollo giving Li Shang a shout out. Li Shang was pretty awesome. Let's see here. Justin Osel is defending the Fabelmans. Elia is twisting the knife, saying, what about Hobbs and Shaw? Leave Dwayne Johnson alone, man. He's trying so hard. You're like, let's talk about all your failed franchise attempts. Let's see here. David Linares says, Plata says, I need something with Elizabeth Olsen and Pedro Pascal together. They were a great pairing. That's funny. They are both pretty great. All right, Greg Lazaro, thank you for your generosity. Says, I grew up watching Goonies with Ke Huy Quan. It was so meaningful seeing him win. I cried every time he gave an acceptance speech. P.S. No prince for me. I'll take King Triton any day. That's true. He just swimming around without a shirt on as a thirst trap. Let's see here. Dan Blaster says, he's like, what? I got a beard. I'm covered up, kind of. Dan Blaster says, hey, Grace, having some mental health struggles at the moment. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but thankful for your videos and this wonderful community. Feel better, Dan. You know, I think it's really important. Just power through it, man. I mean, get the help that you need if you need it. But I think it's really important. I've always gotten, I get emotional sometimes. But some of the good advice that I've gotten is to, you just can't let it define you. You just can't let your emotions define you. But I'm not a professional in terms of, emotions. So you should go and try and find someone to speak to if you're having real issues. Jamie, I don't know if I'm going to review Shadow and Bone Season 2. I have not been able to get through the screeners. And I'm trying to watch Tetris tonight so I can try and get that review up close to the embargo. Earthbound Man says the Mario movie will make $1 billion worldwide. It might. Dan says, thank you, everyone, for the kind words. Oh, that's great. That's very nice. I'm glad you were able to hear them, Dan. All right, I'm going to get going and work on my John Wick review. That embargo lifts at 11 p.m. this evening, and I think you're going to find my review surprising. All right, thank you so much for joining me. It's so great to see such a large crowd. You guys are the best. And if you're not a member, thank you for still tuning in. And that's why I make these streams open to all. And I'm glad you can still be a part and you can comment down below. And even if you're not a member, please know you're a very valued part of this community. And I read all the comments on videos, certainly for the first 24 to 48 hours. And I try to heart and respond to them. And you guys are just really great. I'm just very, very happy with all of you. I mean, you are a part of my life too. And so I just want to let you know that I see everybody in the comments and I see everybody that's watching the stream as well. All right, bye everybody. Bye. I'll see you tomorrow. The stream tomorrow will be early because I got to leave early for my Shazam screening. Oh, Shazam 2. I'm seeing it tomorrow. General overalls. That's very generous of you once again. Thank you. But yeah, I'm seeing Shazam 2 tomorrow evening and the embargo for Shazam lifts on Wednesday night. So, it's Shazam time. Shazam! All right, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye.